Jake, shush now.
We're trying to do a podcast now, Jake. If you could just calm down a little bit over in the corner there.
We're live on air. Right, welcome back, those that are frequent listeners here, those that are new here. This is episode 13 of the Golf Supply podcast, and we are joined by...
Ashley Mullin.
Hey!
Sorry. And we're joined by a special guest today. Is 13 any significant number in your life?
13.
Yeah.
No, I believe it's an unlucky number though, right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And we are joined today with, some of you may know him as Mr. Manners, other you may know him as Peter Drury of golf, other you may know him as Shortside. We know him as James Wilson. Hello, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you, yes.
First of all, we'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming onto the Golf Supply podcast.
It's
late.
An honour and a pleasure.
It is late in the evening. We're crammed into a hotel in Carden Park, but I feel like there's a real wholesome vibe to today's setting.
I feel quite at home.
I feel closer to you than I've ever felt.
Yeah.
Which is
in all senses of the word. We are really close right now.
Physically, emotionally.
yes.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
And as well, for those who aren't deaf and you can hear Shortside voice, he's Scottish and he's went for a true traditional tartan seat to be sat in for this podcast today as well. So we're keeping up with the theme of his heritage, our heritage as well. Vanilla,
rough,
ready round the edges, always ready for a scrap. Us British.
I don't know
English.
if this would actually qualify as tartan, but I didn't.
We haven't
you
got
know,
into that.
I know. But I would like to commend the production value on the podcast has really gone up. They were able to get me this
At short
special,
notice as well. At
short
short
side
side notice.
notice.
Yeah, at real short side notice.
TM.
Yeah.
Correct.
Our video that we just filmed today won't be out before this podcast comes out, so let's not give too much away on that. But we've just enjoyed a 9-hole levels match.
We have.
Well, before we get into that, actually, we should probably... Westy wouldn't have made notes. I have for the podcast, being the organised person
That's
that I am.
not true. But
When you're the talent of the show, you don't really
I've
need
got
to
to pick
do
up
the
the
hard
slack.
yards.
That is very
yeah.
true.
it's
That is
don't
very true.
again. You know when we said on the golf course earlier. Remember what I said to you when he went on a rant, and I said anything
A
Ash
rant.
ever says.
Rant.
Do you remember I had said that to you?
What did you
And
go
I
on
said-
to?
I said,
What did you go on to though?
a rant. And I just said, don't listen to a word he ever says.
Yeah, I mean, that's really no problem at all.
Another example of that.
Of course.
So,
Well, what I was saying was that because you're the true talent, you don't need to do all the legwork.
The
No.
monotony.
You leave that to the
natural.
runners,
I just
the
went for
runners.
like natural kinetic sort of. Well, I do make notes, and I've made notes, but regardless,
You have made notes.
Ashley Mullin, please. Yes. Did you want me to show?
Yeah, well, we can get that.
Show
in
your
a
working,
minute.
please.
But what I would like to do, we're going to just refer... Well, we'll call you James, but we'll refer to you as Shortside a lot in this video because that's what a lot of people will know you as. Shortside.
Well, that's what my mother calls me. So
That's that was your what's it called? Your birth, the like Christian name.
exactly.
That was your Christian
It's
name.
right there on the
Shortside.
birth certificate. Yeah.
If you could just open up this podcast for us, because obviously we know you very well, but for those at home who don't know who James Wilson, aka Shortside, is, who are you, my friend, and why are you all of a sudden appearing on the Golf Supply podcast?
I am 28 years old. It all started in 1996. No, I've played golf my entire life. Literally, so people say, "Oh, when did you start playing golf?" And people are like, "Oh, if you did play your whole life, you'd be like, oh, 4 or 5 or 6." I don't actually. I say 4, but it was probably sort of immediately out of the womb. Dad worked in the golf industry. Mum now works with him in the golf industry. Anyway, family on that side, all golf. Wanted to play on tour my entire life. Worked like very hard from like a weirdly young age. Quite an intense little kid. Played a few different sports, and then eventually stuck with golf. Played a full sort of amateur schedule around the UK. Had a reasonable amateur career. Went to the University of Stirling to pursue that. Eventually turned professional, but it was just after COVID, and kind of got a bit disillusioned with it all, but still wanted to see it through. Played for about 18 months on like Europro, which was actually the last year that Europro existed, and then eventually stopped not so long after that. Started working with the guys at MANORS, who I'm not sure, but hopefully a lot of people are familiar with, and then started making content when I was working at MANORS, and then we crossed paths, and I guess here we are.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So that's the short side version of short side.
That's beautifully put
Yeah.
in like 1 minute. It's quite sad, really. That's your entire life.
Yeah.
And you just said it in a minute.
1 minute. Yeah.
God, really makes you think,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
So you've touched on the notes that I'll just run with a couple of the notes that I've made, Wes, and if you've made some as well, we can maybe jump onto them as well at some point. So you just bank them for now, just put them in the back pocket, hold them there, hold them there,
side pocket,
hold them there.
Yeah.
So I've got I'll get through the generic podcast questions first, so we can paint the picture of James Wilson's life, the upbringing. The first question I've got in here is, how did you get into golf? Now you've just alluded to that your father worked in the golf industry. What did he do in the golf industry? And I'm guessing he was the influence that was like, my boy is going to play golf.
Just quickly, I saw that you put the story up on. Sorry to mess with.
Oh, we've got Q&As. Yeah.
And I was going to say sorry that question that he really, how did you get into golf? Took some real, bit of time to really think about that one as well.
No, all good. I was just curious as to the sort of responses that Q&A. No more from a volume perspective. I wondered if there was sort of 3 responses or 3,000 responses.
We're at probably
30.
40 to 50.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah, but we won't go through we won't pick all 40 to
course.
50.
That's
but
fine.
if we could not jump to that part of the point and just get on to the
course.
facts
That's
of
not
yours.
bad though, 40 to 50.
You've got some interest in your life.
Well, that's great. More than you have.
More than, if we put up questions for me, we get none. Yeah, it's just abuse more, less questions. More
It would
abuse.
just be, why do you grip the golf club like that
Yeah.
over and over and over again?
You should grip it normally.
Yeah, which maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But your dad works in the golf industry, James.
Sorry, yeah. So he worked for Brownings, which was a sports manufacturer back in the day. Eventually started working for Mizuno, and then somewhere along the line started working for like a golf accessories business, which he then sort of took over and now runs with my mother.
What do they make? You don't want to shout mum and dad's business out?
As in how much money do they make a
No,
year?
no, that would be a bit intrusive. More so like, what golf accessories do they make?
Yeah, they supply like a lot of the golf courses around the UK and some in Europe with ball markers, tees, pencils, towels, caps, the real sexy stuff.
All the stuff you get for free when you go to the golf course.
All the
How
stuff.
do they make money on that?
Someone's paying it somewhere along the
good.
line. So yeah, they've been working in that industry, and my grandfather played. My dad, as I say, played. I think he maybe got down to like a handicap of 4 when he was late 20s.
Is this your dad or your granddad? Your dad.
My dad.
Your dad,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
He got down to say a handicap of 4, but he's doesn't enjoy playing it so much as he enjoys like the history of golf, the culture of golf. Like he's just a golf nut, you know. So yeah, I mean, I played a bunch of different sports, but I kind of took to golf more than the others quite quickly, and with his encouragement and interest, and that was probably the sport he knew the most about, so it was easiest for him to kind of usher me down that path.
What didn't you like about netball then? Why did you stop that?
My netball career flourished momentarily. It was a real fleeting moment.
Was undecided on where to play, goal attack, goal defence, and it was
exactly.
all
and it's
golf
like,
it is.
Oh, I'm playing with women. This seems to be just a women's sport.
Yeah.
And then I thought from a social perspective, thought it was best to get out there.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So when you say from obviously playing from a young age, you've been playing since like you was old enough to remember playing. At what point did you get to? We asked Aaron this, another like we asked Josh, I think, and a few other people who've had the podcast up from a professional standpoint. At what age did you think I'm actually like probably better than a lot of the people my age? When did that kick in? Where you was like, at what age was you? Well, let people know at home. What was your kind of handicaps at ages? Like, how did that build?
I don't really know what the handicaps were. Like what my first handicap was, for example. I remember having a handicap of 18, but I would have been very young, like 9 or 10 years old. And then when I was like 11 when I was 12 years old, I won the Scottish Under-12s Championship.
You remember what you shot?
Landmark moment in my career, by the way.
Highlight.
I believe I shot 79 at the Glen golf course.
At what age?
North Berwick. It was under 12, but like, you know, I was probably 12 at the time.
So at 12, you were better than Westy now.
That would have been
True story as well. I take
It
no
was quite
offense.
windy as well. It was pretty tough
Yeah, so,
out there. At the
so you were
Glen.
extremely better. It wasn't just better. You can insert volume of better before that. Extremely.
Quite possibly. In fact, we were talking about types of YouTube video that you would like to do. If only we could sort of
have a time.
meddle
Yeah.
with time,
Oh, that'd be so
that
good.
would be just
Yeah.
lovely.
So you could have a levels, and then we could jump in a time machine, and I could play you in levels, and
Exactly.
still,
and I would maybe pip you by 3 or 4 shots.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a few more. But yeah.
Why? What's your best ever score?
76, but it was in Morocco, and
At Noria.
Okay.
the course,
We had both our PBs on the same day, marking each other's cards.
Wow.
and we didn't film.
Wow. Says a lot, guys.
No, it sounds really dodgy,
yeah,
but like,
yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
But it's the best I've ever.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
so it's
It
fine.
wasn't. It was fine. Yeah, it was all fine.
No.
It was all legit. It was
I
all.
mean, we were playing with Mark and Olivia.
yeah, we had
from
2 other
golfing
player
days.
partners.
We weren't alone.
We were sharing a buggy there, and we were going off on our own.
Yeah.
So they can like testify.
You
to the
guys
score
go,
that
you guys
did.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They signed our cards at the end to say it was all correct, which was
And our Moroccan
Well-
handicaps are
yeah, they
phenomenal.
bark off. Honestly,
You're in the national.
yeah, we're
sports.
flying. Yeah,
Yeah,
in Morocco,
yeah.
we're flying.
Well, that really puts my mind at ease knowing that those scores were legitimate.
Yeah.
But
Your
so-
12-year-old self's really quaking in his boots now, isn't he?
yeah,
James?
exactly. I might have to actually back out of that particular one if that's all right. Once we get the time travel sorted, I might not be so keen.
So you're 12. You've won the Scottish Anthony with a score of 79.
Yeah, 79. I think I won it by a shot. There was like a group of us when we were around that age of like like high performing Scottish kids, and we travelled around, and our dads had actually organised a little tour that we would do called the Scottish Junior Golf Tour, I think. Makes sense.
Great name.
Yeah. You know what? It's sitting down
wonder-
at a drawing board. That probably does make sense. Yeah.
Great name.
Yeah.
It ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Did all of the dads agree on that name, or did one genius come up with
I
that
don't
one?
think there was a I don't think there was a creative director on
No.
that project.
Needed a short side of manners there to come up with, but it
Well,
works.
again.
The name
Yeah.
fits the.
It tells you what you're doing.
It does,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's
No one-
there can be no questions. What's this group of guys doing? Come to
Yeah.
they're kids. The Scottish Scotland Junior.
Yeah. You say, oh, we're just running an event for the Scottish Junior Golf Tour. No one has another question
No,
after
done.
that.
No.
So
Done.
in many ways, I think genius could be the word.
Efficient, I would use maybe.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Okay,
Efficient
sure.
name.
I'll pass that on to my dad. So there was a group of us kids who played in all of those little tournaments, and it was very competitive, and actually a real very beneficial for us growing up, because all the kids were essentially the best in the country, but weirdly there wasn't a setup from like the national body to do that, so the dads had to step in and save the day. Yeah.
So you're at 12. You've won your first national amateur event, and if you're shooting 79, you're probably of like a single-digit golfer around 12, 13. Like you're around
Yeah.
that level.
Yeah, I remember winning my junior club championship when I was 11, which was quite funny. But not really. It wasn't really done on my own merit. I think I'd played reasonably well, but then there was like an 18-year-old man essentially who had kind of had a nightmare of a final round, and I ended up like winning by a shot. So that was quite amusing. So the 11 to 12 period was just
You was fire in that year. You was on fire.
no one could touch me.
winning
No.
tournaments left,
No
right,
one
and
could
centre.
touch me.
Yeah.
So like I kind of had an understanding because of those tournaments that I said, Scottish Junior Golf Tour, that I was at a certain level nationally, you know. So I guess from then.
But it weren't like verified because it was just all of your dads and his dad's mates
Right,
just
right.
setting up a golf tour.
All right,
Is
mate.
They
there?
didn't have any like actual like ranking there, or it just so really like whoever was friends with the dads, like that's who were classed as like.
Whoever played their subs that week?
You're accusing us of nepotism.
Well, no, I'm
essentially.
just saying
Okay.
it's not like I'm not sure if you're familiar with like how England works. We have like England golf set up, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
we
say
have like
that. Do you-
amateur
I've never-
rankings. No,
No, never heard
Scotland
of that.
didn't have that.
Is there-
Scotland
is there
actually
an
have that now?
We've just started speaking like words up there.
That's
So like national golfing bodies are
That's
slightly.
true. Not there.
We shouldn't.
Do
ask
they have
them to
anything?
run.
Did they? No, you have because you play like home eyes and stuff. So when did that come?
No,
in then?
we do. I was just saying at the time, which was probably 15 years ago, there wasn't like a tour of events for 12-year-olds. You know, like it's not.
No, but I think
It doesn't mean that we're flipping
the question-
Neanderthals. It just means
I was painting the picture of you just all running around throwing haggis at each other and like not really know what to do.
is there
in
an
life.
equivalent? So we have EG.
Yeah, they
now,
do,
and
yeah.
the Pride.
there's a Scottish Golf Union,
Yeah, okay.
and like it was a point of contention at the time, a real hot topic, that there wasn't this facility for kids to play and compete and try and get really good at golf. So that's when the dad stepped in and saved the day.
And what do you know? Not that you would know because you're a Scotsman, but do we know how young England golf goes? Does it go to 12 in England?
There would have been like an equivalent under 12.
So we trumped
England.
Scotland in that. At least we would do.
Do they? Is there like a Commonwealth thing where you all play? Do the Scottish youngsters manage to tour to English dads and play in like a?
So I don't know if it would be like 12 years old, but there's a home internationals which they have for juniors and they have for men's, but I'm sure we'll get to that as the timeline progresses.
Yeah, it's on here. Well done for that, James. It's on here.
Problem at all.
Do you want to ask any of your things that you've apparently
I feel
got
like
written down?
I feel like everything you're saying is fairly generic. We're building up, and you're going to now push on.
Thanks. So my life thus far just quite
generic
golfer.
generic
You're
golfer.
at 12. Yeah, you've won a few like homemade events.
And now we're going to really push to sort of. We're going to look at like
DIY events.
Yeah.
16. We're going to push to like 16 years old, 16 to 18, where
that's
things start.
now
Like
we're
now, I'm starting to hit the ball a bit further. Where are you in your amateur career
career
at this point?
Yeah.
So you've pushed on to 16 to 18.
At
We'll
16.
skip the
Yeah.
13.
Well, from 12, like you've said, don't have to brag to the podcast that you've won loads of events at 12, 13.
Oh, so you're saying 14?
You're a
was
fucking
maybe
wonder
good.
kid. You're like the Scottish Messi of golf. We get the fucking point that you're painting here.
That actually wasn't the case. I'd won that event, but there were a bunch of kids who were better than me at that age.
Could you name any of them just in case they watch the podcast?
Yeah, Ben Kinsley was like
Are you squinting when you say that?
he was the
You're shaking.
Ben
Is
Kinsley.
he still playing now? Do you know?
I think he plays casually, but
Okay.
doesn't play like full time or
Do
anything.
you reckon you
Anyway,
beat him now?
quite possibly.
Let's load up the fair play.
Yeah,
Are you
Ben.
trying to-
Hear that, Ben? Game on.
But Ben was a flusher when we were 12, and he won most of the things. And then there was a couple other kids, George Burns, who does still play a bit. He went to St Andrews Uni, and then Fraser Davern was also very good. He was probably the best. Where does he work? He actually works at Ingeborg Links.
Does he really?
Yeah.
strange.
He's like the assistant pro at Ingeborg.
Oh, small
Yeah.
world. I'll ask him about you next time.
Do you know?
It's
I don't know
my-
him,
my-
but it's like he lives like
It's my
2 minutes
local
from it.
Oh,
range
mental.
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah. So anyway, so he was really good when we were that age. Anyway, we can skip ahead to sort of 16.
Unless we're missing
Yeah.
anything that you'd
Unless
like
14
to touch
or
on.
yeah.
No,
Unless 14 or 15
So
was
then
a
I
hot
won the
streak.
Scottish under 13s.
Oh, so there is stuff to
And
talk
then I
about
won
then.
the Scottish under 14s. No, I
Oh,
didn't.
okay. Oh, you didn't.
None
No,
of the
Fraser
above.
did.
That was just one of my classic guys.
Fraser done that.
Fraser
won that.
tore it from my grasp.
Yeah.
So 16.
16. Now
What handicap?
the
are you?
balls are starting to drop.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. You can say
Yeah.
what the fuck you want.
Both.
Well, Jake will give you this if it's not allowed, like we said
Okay.
earlier.
Go
And I see what you did there as well. Balls starting, like more putts are being made. Physically, your balls are dropping, and
It's
you're
kind
really
of-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
golf
yeah.
innuendo that we
Yeah.
all got. Yeah.
Except me.
No, you
Yeah.
got it. You made it.
Yeah.
So 16. What's your handicap at 16?
16, it was probably scratch.
Okay.
You know, there's wonder kids now who are sort of +5, +6
Mm-hmm.
at that age. So I'd kind of, I don't know if like stagnated, but you know, I wasn't kind of setting the heather on fire. I was playing in all the now.
Weird that you said heather there.
I just was really
weld
trying to
on
have a
fire.
passage there where somebody finished like 4 to 5
Yeah.
sentences, and why did you have to say something
Heather. Is
ridiculous
that the
like
Scottish thing? Heather?
Who says heather on fire?
That is a saying.
What, in Scotland?
Well,
We
maybe
set the
in
world on
Scotland.
fire.
Yeah, set
is
the
the
world on
normal- is
fire.
like the generic saying for that.
Okay.
I wasn't setting the
It's
world
because
on fire.
Scottish people think Scotland's the world.
Well,
I think
Yes,
it's something like that.
yeah.
Set the heather on
It's
fire.
it's the only sort of plant or thing I could name
Oh, yeah.
because it's all that
You
exists
didn't
in
want
my
to go
head.
world as like
N-
wasn't set the
no.
world on fire.
Listen, I regret saying it now. Okay.
good.
I deeply
Nothing
regret saying
nothing
it.
gets past us. Two,
No.
does it?
No.
Sorry, James.
Anyway, back to setting the heather on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing that, but I was playing in all of the Scottish junior events and was kind of progressing a bit, but like wasn't getting into national squads. And then that's around the time when most kids who are really good or even just quite good will start applying to like college in the US. or just going to university in general. And I wasn't like shit hot enough to go to a really good college in the States. And at that point, I knew the head coach at the University of Stirling, and it seemed like a really good option. First of all, free. Scottish university, free for Scottish residents.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who said that? I think told us that recently, or somebody.
Not me.
No, I did
Yeah,
hear that recently.
it's a real touch. And there at that point, like Richie Ramsey went to Stirling Uni, Katrina Matthew had been to Stirling Uni, and then there was a bunch more kind of around that time a few guys had played Walker Cup. I can't actually remember names at that point, but it was a really good option. So I decided to go there and just snuck into like a scholarship program. And at that point, then I was joining. There were a few guys like Jack McDonald. I don't know if you know Jack McDonald.
No.
A few of the guys played Walker Cup, so friends like Cormac Sharvin, Craig Howie, they were all like top of the amateur game, like top 100 wagger at that point. So it was perfect for me going in as like a scratch +1 golfer.
Wagger is what they call World Amateur Golf Rankings. Like people who are playing it, that's what they like short it for. But for people listening at home who didn't, just quickly pass.
You mean everyone doesn't know what wagger stands
It's
for?
just the way that you said it. Some people wouldn't. But carry on, sorry.
So basically, if you're top 100 in the wagger, you're like a legitimate player. Most people would say that if you got into the top 100, you've earned your stripes to turn pro, essentially. So these guys were all very good, very impressive, and the perfect people to go and learn from because they were, far better than me at the time. So went through university, got quite a lot better. I always used to hit it very short. And at some point along the way at university, I started bulking, which may be where you come in, Michael. We could discuss gym routines and whey protein and
just
things like that.
eating, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we could probably. I've got that written down actually.
Sorry for stealing one of your notes. Literally eating until I felt sick at every meal.
Is that solely with the sole purpose of I want to hit the ball further, so I want to put weight on?
Yeah,
okay.
literally. I was
Under
probably
the instruction of a coach at the college, or
we had there were like institute trainers, like strength and conditioning coaches at the university, and I just kind of knew it's what needed to happen. I was probably like 67 kilos or something when I was 17, 18 years old, like at university, which is
a little bit more than Jake now at 22, which is good.
yeah,
exactly. Well, as in the upper end, you were going towards that. So I was like 6'1" and probably 67 kilos or something, and I was like hitting it 240, and that just needed to change.
what with driver?
I know, embarrassing, right? So hitting these little pappy draws down the middle, short game was fire. So
Still in there now, isn't it? Really?
It's in there somewhere. Anyway, did the gym and the eating for a year and a half, but kind of kept it going. Anyway, put on like 20 kilos in 6 months to a year, which was kind of ridiculous, to be honest, and gained a lot of club head speed, made some swing changes, and golf got a lot better. Towards the end of my university career, I was kind of picking up a bit of pace, and then playing in all of the like big UK amateur events, so the British Amateur, the Lynx Trophy, the Scottish Stroke Play, all these kinds of things. And in 2018 actually, so that was the year after I finished at university, I won the Welsh Stroke Play, which was each nation has its own like national stroke play championship, which most of the top amateurs will go and play in. The Welsh is the smallest, but I hadn't won anything or like really contended in anything of that caliber before, so I managed to win that. And then the next year was kind of off to the races. We went to South Africa at the start of the year, which a lot of the home nations do. They send a squad over there to do like some winter training and then play in all of their events. Came back, it's like things like Lytham Trophy, all these events, and played well in a bunch of them, and managed to play my way into the European Team Championships, which is like a 6-man Scotland team, or national team. And at that point, the Walker Cup was the following year, because it runs on a 2-year rotation. And so 2019 had gone really well. Went away again at the start of 2020. Back to South Africa, same events like the South African stroke play. You go to Leopard Creek, you play in the African Amateur, and had played well in a few of the events, lost in the final of the South African match play, got home, and literally 2 days after we got home was COVID. So it's like you're kicking off to try and get into the Walker Cup team at the end of that season, and COVID just came in like out of absolutely nowhere. So that obviously changed things. The Walker Cup went ahead. It was at Seminole that year in the US, and a bunch of the guys from the GB&I team basically got picked off the guys who were in the US playing college golf, because they were still able to play. The rules were different over there. And there's by no means am I saying like I would have got in the team, but I didn't really get the chance.
Do you think could have got in the team?
Well, because of the 2019 season I'd had, which was like solid, it was like a good foundation. Generally if you win one of the big events in the lead up to the Walker Cup, so like I said, the British Amateur Champion always gets in, but the Lynx Trophy, the Scottish Stroke Play, if you win one of those with a decent track record, you're probably going to get in.
Right.
And the Walker Cup is not the be all and end all, but it's a great opportunity to get a head start. You can skip the mini tours for a year or two and go straight to Challenge Tour, and you're going to get a bunch of starts, and you can have a chance to just kick on straight away without the struggle at the bottom. So the COVID came around, slowed things down, and then I guess we're kind of onto the professional side of things. Like,
what age did you turn pro?
Well, 2020, I would have been 24, and then COVID eventually came to an end, maybe the next year. But by that point, I was kind of disillusioned with it all. Like, I'd never had I'm sure COVID was similar for a lot of people. I'd never had a time in my life where I wasn't like laser focused on playing golf, and then all of a sudden it's like, right, you can't leave the house. You're gonna have to entertain yourself another way. And I kind of found that all the stress and like guilt that I'd felt about not playing golf and not practicing during normal life. So, if I didn't go to the practice area, I'd be like kind of kicking myself that I should be there, I should be going to the gym, and then all of a sudden you couldn't do any of that, so the guilt was taken away. I was like, well, it's self-inflicted. all the guilt and all this stress is self-inflicted. So once COVID came to an end, I was like, my perception of the whole thing had changed, but I still wanted to see through and see it through and turn professional. So there was like a tartan tour in the UK, which was running at the time, so played in a couple of those and turned pro for the first one of those, and then actually managed to win my second one, which was cool. But they're kind of small fields and 36 holes, or 54 holes. Anyway, small fields, but it was still good. And then played Europro the next year and just quite quickly realised I didn't really want to do it.
Do you feel like because of COVID, you were forced to turn pro quicker than you wanted? Or do you feel like if you weren't, let's just say COVID didn't happen and you weren't selected for Walker Cup, do you feel like if you weren't selected, you would have just gone, okay, cool, I'll turn pro? Or would you have maybe grinded out as an amateur for another 2 years? Or
I wouldn't have ground it out as an amateur for another 2 years. If I'd got on the Walker Cup team, that would have been great. If I hadn't, I probably would have turned pro around that time. So it delayed me probably a year, actually, because of the way that COVID worked, like timing-wise. But yeah, it delayed me, if anything, turning pro. Yeah.
And were you terrible at golf when you come out of COVID?
I didn't have.
That's what I felt like on the golf course. I felt like I'd been in a COVID.
It's strange, though, isn't it? Like you're saying, you practiced you probably hit a golf ball in some form.
But did you have like a net in your house, like you have in the garden? You just bashing balls.
I didn't really. I didn't really hit balls or anything like that. Did some short game stuff in the garden and like a bit of putting, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. There was like when restrictions got lifted briefly and then came back again. But there was like the odd tournament in between, and you kind of could practice a bit here and play there, and then the restrictions were lifted so you could play with your mates. So, but yeah, it was more like mentally I didn't have that. You know, when I don't know if you guys do feel this, but
Probably
when
going
you're
to be a no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
to this question, but go on.
Before you even say it, I don't know why it was funny. I missed the joke entirely.
No, it's
James.
just he's going to be talking about something about dedicating the life to golf or something to do with some professional mindset. The answer probably no, but go ahead, James.
when you're dialed, right, take yourself back to your Morocco, your PB, right, which was 65 for the listeners.
Par 71, 65. Yeah.
You're like in this mental space where, well, maybe your best score ever isn't the example. It's actually more when you're like grinding out a 1 under to make a cut, and you just go into this
Never been.
like mode where like nothing's gonna get in your way, and it's like very intense, and requires like every bit of mental energy that you have. And I found
Sounds magical.
it's quite grim.
Yeah.
It's quite grim. But I found that after COVID, after I'd kind of softened a bit mentally and was like, oh, there's all these other things I want to do in life, and it kind of took away a bit of that intensity. So it was more the mental side than the actual golfing side. But they're obviously interconnected.
Boys and girls, do you want to get involved on the Tour Championship sweepstake that Fairplay have just launched? It's a £5 entry, 120 quid back to first place. If you haven't already got the app, you can use our code GolfSupply to get a £5 free bet. Simply head over to the app, enter the sweepstake. You'll be allocated a player like this. I won't show mine. But if your player wins, it is £120 back for a £5 investment. Download the app if you haven't already got it. If you have got it, get involved in the sweepstake.
Yeah, that's my.
Have you had that where you've been like close to trying to grind out a level par and nothing's going to get in your way?
Nothing. I mean, I've grinded out things in my life, but nothing golf related. No.
Yeah, but it's probably like it probably is quite similar to whatever you're thinking non-golf related. It's just like right, I'm
stuck
just
in a bubble and
in the zone,
Yeah.
like nothing's touching my focus, and that's kind of what it was like on the golf course, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
No, I do. Like we joke and that we take the piss. No, I do get it. Like once you're stuck in the bubble and you are putting your full effort into something,
Yes.
and then when you realise it isn't the be all and end all, or that something now passes, then you, like you say, you lose interest, and then you wonder how you ever was in that state of mind anyway.
That's literally it. Yeah.
Because now you're so far away from that state of mind, you don't know, like, you question like how you ever used to get up at this time, do that thing. So
Yeah,
no,
so
I do.
regimented.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So after a season on the Euro Pro, and you've decided that one season, then you decided playing pro wasn't for you.
Yeah, I'd played like a few events the previous year on that Tarn tour, and then kind of played through the winter, and then started the Euro Pro season, and yeah, that was it.
What was it what was the thought behind you going? Yeah, this just after playing golf your whole life, going through the amateur, going to university for golf, playing your amateur career, turning pro. What was it? Just your mentality side of it? You're not 100% in it anymore, or what was the specific thing where you were like, I don't want to do this now?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of that softening, like I'd said, mental softening. Like, oh, there's these other things that I want to do, so I was kind of partially distracted.
Which
in some
were?
ways. A lot. I'd always done a lot of creative stuff. Like I'd kind of self-taught graphic design and illustrations and writing and things like that. And I'd started a blog through COVID and was writing about golf experiences and what it was like playing full time and just thoughts and things. And then I was also doing the graphic design stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe this is more fulfilling and more reliable to me than the golf is, because it's a bit more consistent. The creative work than, which, you know, is kind of crazy. Like golf is the most unstable, most toxic thing you can do for your livelihood. Yeah.
100%.
Like you can put in so much work and it just fucking kicks you in the nuts, you know? And that can happen a lot. And
you're seeing it a lot these days, isn't you? When people like Matt Wallace come out and like these other people on the PGA Tour, where like you're starting to see like really heartfelt like post-round interviews sometimes now, where people are coming out and they're like, whether they've been on the corn. I think one lad was on the corn for, he was on the PGA, and he was like, I've just fucking hated my life for like the last night. Did you see that one where he's like,
I actually didn't know.
he came in, it was like, he was actually like quite like eye-opening. He was like, for the last 6-7 months, like I was like this close to quitting, because I was like, why am I putting myself through this every single week of turning up at these events, hating every single second being on the golf course, because I don't think I'm going to make the cut, or when am I going to hit my next bad shot, or when am I going to blah 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 blah. But then like luckily for this guy, he had like a bit of a mentality switch, and he like started to just enjoy the process and just like hit his shot, and what would happen, blah blah blah. But like people like we're probably fortunate enough to be around people like yourself and Aaron and other pros and stuff that have lived that life, and like we've spent some time filming at the Clutch Tour and this and that, and it is like you can't really put across how fucking hard trying to make it as a professional golfer. You right there, Jake?
Oh, fuck.
We're good over there, yeah?
That's 3 times today. That's
Top of my backswing.
He wasn't about to play a shot, so it was mistimed, really.
Can we... You got another one, or are you good? Yeah? I was really into a good, like, deep moment there as well. No, fuck yourself. Carry on, James. The guy got out of it and was now playing good golf and making some cuts.
I do try and explain that to... I've like spoke to like my partner, my parents, people at work. I try and explain like because obviously like Ash said, the more I hang around with you guys and speak to you guys, so I never really understood. I watched PGA, play Tiger Woods, I watched the majors, so understood golf and like knew there was tours below. But then the more I speak to you guys, I just think, yeah, it's fucking rough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we say it every time, but like I try and explain to people like they're not on a team, so they're not on a salary. They can't then have a bad day or like maybe feel a bit fatigued in their left leg. So like they'll just rely on everyone else. If they have a 70% time, they can still win the match. If you don't play well, I don't make the cut. Guess what? That money is down the toilet. On to next weekend, And then eventually, like me and Ash say, there has to be a moment where you go,
you
I
can't
can't do
fund
it
anymore.
I have to go and work in a driving range or go and be a teaching pro or... Crazy. I don't think there's another sport like it. Well, like individual sports. Oh, okay, you get like boxing.
There's not another sport where you physically are betting on yourself to make it pro, and that's the only way you can do it. Unless you're a wonder child like a Rory, gets sponsored by Nike and all this. If you're someone trying to make your way through the ranks, you might have to pay subs to play at a weekend, or like £3 to play a fucking football match on a Saturday or a Sunday, or you pay your sub to the football team or rugby team. Win golf, you are spending a fortune
thousands
to bet on yourself just to try and make that money back, to win tournaments, to make your life. It is crazy.
Because there is an individual sport like boxing is about £3 to go to Thursday night training.
Yeah,
and then they put you forward to boxing like the regionals
like
and then the nationals.
Financially
You're representing
backing
that
yourself,
team, even though it's individual sport. Yes, golf's crazy.
It is crazy. I think a big part of it as well is I started thinking, like, imagine I was putting all this effort and time into something with a more reliable return. Like, say it was a business venture and you were grinding the way you were on that business venture as you were on your golf game. Like, you would have a quantifiable return that was somewhat equal to the amount of effort you were putting in. Whereas golf there's so many external variables that are out of your control that... the input to output is just way off, and unless you're like very talented or you've got something really special, or you just like are so obsessed, like it's your whole thing, then it really is difficult to compete with those people. And eventually, like, I'm not some sort of God-given talent, obviously, and also was being distracted by these other things and was losing that like ridiculous laser focus, and I was just kind of like, whoa, I don't really know how I can compete, like especially in a sustainable way. Like I just can't do this for another 10 years. But also when you're growing up, every kid wants to be a professional footballer or something of that ilk, and I don't think you obviously at that age you don't have a concept for what the actual lifestyle is like. So if you're playing, no one's deluded about what life is like as a mini tour golfer, but you are raising money at the start of the year. Say you need 25 grand to play on a Euro Pro at the time, which is what I was doing. 25 grand. So you've got to go and find that from friends and family. Some people are fortunate. They'll know someone who can give them the whole chunk. Some people need to go out and find 2s and 3s and 4 grands here, 10 grand there, and add it all up. And then so that's stressful for a lot of people. Like I don't really like asking anyone for anything, let alone 10 grand. So that's tough. And then you are going from, you're booking literally the cheapest hotels, the cheapest Airbnbs you can possibly find, which, if I could write a book on the amount of like really grim Airbnbs that I stayed in, and then you go out, you play quite well, miss maybe 1 or 2 putts and miss the cut by a shot, and then drive 6 hours back to Glasgow to go home. And
Good crack.
yeah, it's good
Sounds like
fun.
a real good crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well. Like, some guys would be able to relax and have a few beers maybe after the first round, and then like kind of go about it that way. But I just never had, as I said, like, was always quite an intense kid, and there's an element of me that's pretty intense now, but I never had that ability to. Well, I just always thought, like, I need to give this absolutely 100%, and probably in some ways that took away from my ability to play good golf, because you kind of, out of a feeling of guilt or whatever it is that you need to give it your all, you actually kind of you're trying too hard, essentially. Sometimes the guys who would chill out and not really give a fuck and go and not hit balls before the round, they would actually be the guys who would play really well. Yeah, exactly. Or who's there was a guy, is it Joe Dean? Do you know him? He qualified for the Open this year, and he's won, I think, twice on the DP World Tour. He doesn't hit balls before he goes out. Like, he didn't hit. He's just straight to the first tee
knows
on a Royal Troon.
He knows that his body is good enough to
trust
play
it.
good golf,
Yeah, totally.
and just says, "Let's roll with it."
Yeah. So loads of different, like, quite boring kind of practical elements of playing professional golf. I was just like, there's just no way I'm doing this for another 5-10 years. And then if it was to go really well, you play, like, you've got to play really well to get off a mini tour, like top 5 in an order of merit of guys who are all +5 to +8 handicaps. That goes really well, and then Challenge Tour costs probably 50k.
Yeah.
So your prize at the end of your really good season is, right, go out and find 50 grand to go and play Challenge Tour and do the same thing that you were just doing
against better golfers.
Against better golfers on a European scale.
Yeah.
So go and stay in a shitty hotel in Kazakhstan instead of in, like, Wolverhampton.
I don't know whether I'd probably rather
Kazakhstan.
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
The prize purse is bigger. So yeah, I don't think many guys who hang around that level for that long will get out of it. The guys who will do well will generally be on there for like 1 or 2 years, and then they can get off, because you just kind of, it's like a swamp, like you kind of run out of steam a bit. But yeah, that's
a very positive, because there was a bit there, it was a very positive attitude. You're like, oh, if I was putting all of this energy into something else, then what could happen? If you say about a business and that. But then, like you say, as soon as that mentality creeps into something like golf, you've just already,
got to pack it in.
you've it's true, isn't it? Like, and it's so weird, because that sentence there is so positive of you to be like, well, I've got incredible work ethic, and if I was doing something else, I could really be propelling this. You weren't saying like, well, I could go and get an office job and earn 80k, and then,
or just anything generic.
Yeah,
just like,
but but then as soon as that creeps in, you're just not going to beat the man that's like,
all in.
I will like
Totally.
die for this.
Yeah.
But then I also agree with what you're saying as well. Is if you are hovering in those internally national sort of mini tours, and you've been there for a few seasons, you're clearly not good enough to get out. And if you do get out, you're going to just get swallowed up by challenges.
But as a preface of that is, there is a lot of case studies where you can float around them for a while, and then
hit a peak.
You maybe change coach and you find something in your swing and stuff. It's not the be all end all. If you stay on the clutch or the challenge tour and you're there for 3, 4, 5 seasons, definitely doesn't mean that you're not going to make it out of it.
No,
but as like a generic. Usually if you are that guy who's going to make it to the DP World Tour, the PJ Tour, or go to the top parts of the game, you don't tend to spend a lot of time. You kind of progress through these tours pretty quickly. But that isn't just the preface. That isn't to say that you can't be on the Challenge Tour for 4, 5, 6 years, and then something clicks in your game or something changes, then you can push on to be like a European Tour player, and definitely can happen.
It's all relative as well, actually, isn't it? Because we sometimes think of golf as like Tiger, Rory. We're all guilty of it. We think golf is top 10 millionaires. Ultimately, like, you can just sit the challenge and be good enough. You're not bad enough to ever drop out, but you're good enough to always be there. You've got a handful of sponsors, and you earn 50 grand a year, and you think, I'd rather play golf than go and work in a I can handle this mini amount of stress. I'm good enough to hover here. I'll earn 40 to 60 grand a year, and I'll just do this I'll play golf for my life. So,
and those guys who can keep things ticking over, they have good sponsorship, they can keep playing. they'll qualify for an Open one year, and they'll make the cut, and they'll make 50 grand, and they'll play some PGA events and they're around their more locally. I mean,
they're better than
and
the
make
fields, they'll win them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like if there are ways of getting off, and guys obviously hit those hot streaks and will escape onto Challenge Tour and DP World Tour. Like there's those stories happen semi-regularly, and there's also a way to have a good life doing what you love, which for these people is playing golf, and if you can stick around, you're gonna get through into the Open. You're gonna qualify for a US Open, into a big tour event. I think Max Homa, I remember listening to him on a podcast, he was like, this is a bit more negative, but so often the guys who make it are the guys with the biggest financial runway.
Yeah.
Like it's not always the best golfers, it's the guys who can like stick at it because they've got the cash, and they've got the the desire, the longevity, to just keep going. So it really is like a marathon.
That's
in some ways.
I get that, because that's like saying, hey, 24-year-old James, stop being stressed, because I can guarantee you for the next 5 years I've got this money and you're going to survive in this tour. Now you're going to play as a different 24-year-old James, aren't you? So that makes complete sense what you said there, really.
Definitely.
And it is crazy as well. It's like when you're like I'm sure everyone at home's probably seen like different levels in golf and stuff, but it's like if you go to like a pro-am or you're playing something, or like the levels between PGA coaching pro to PGA playing pro to mini tour pro to challenge tour pro to DP World Tour pro to live golf and thingy, like there is so many fucking ladders and levels to climb through until you make it, and every single stage you see a big incremental difference in the ability of these players. Not necessarily like ball striking, it's just like know-how and just get the ball in the fucking hole. Obviously when you get to the thing, it's like ball striking impressive, short game impressive, putting impressive, but like what I notice about when we done the live video, I played with John Catlin. I wouldn't play with John, honestly, hand on heart, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'd say the same about Aaron or Josh or anything. When I played with John, I didn't walk away from playing with John and after playing with you today and been like, fuck me, they're worlds apart on ball striking or something like that. It's just mentality, and they get the ball in the fucking hole.
Yes.
They miss in the right places. They get up and down from absolutely everywhere. Their short game's fucking great. Obviously they've got a good all-round game, but it's not even always like, it's just some people have just got that shit in them that just gets the ball in the hole.
Totally.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Some
true.
people just have that knack. I don't know what it is. It was playing hot. Obviously, I fucking chopped it around them, whatever I shot. But like John was probably 2 or 3 over that day or something. But it was like the most stressless in prime as well. And he's like having a little bit of thing of it, but like just gets the ball in the fucking hole.
Yeah. It is. That is a huge part of it. You can play with, like Aaron, me played mini tour stuff. There'll be loads of guys. Most guys flush it now, to be fair.
Yeah.
But like on the DP World Tour, there'll be loads of guys. You put him on a range next to Aaron, and you wouldn't think, oh well, he plays on the Alps Tour and he plays on the DP World Tour. But you're right, there is that. It's difficult to know exactly what it is, but it's like it's a mentality combined with like a really good short game and a really good know-how. Just like playing chess around the golf course, and all of a sudden, like you look at someone's card at the end of the round and they've shot 3 under, and it's like just completely under the radar. It's
a skill in itself.
Yeah,
for sure.
it totally is. Yeah,
I agree with that. Everyone, when you play with all of you, Aaron, whoever it might be, you all strike the ball brilliant at the middle of the club face. Like you might miss a couple, but the strike is there. But it's just it's definitely like this like difference that you see when you play with the people at the top level of like, and I'm not saying like Dustin or like when you see Bryson hit a ball and everything, these blokes are different. Their strike sounds different. They're elite, but play with other people like Travis Smythe at thingy, like struck the ball well, obviously lovely, struck the ball well, but just have a know-how of just getting the ball in the fucking hole. And like
I think for me it's more like like you've said there, both of you, like you're all good. You all know where the middle of the bat is now. You've done that since you were 12, whatever. But it's like hitting a bad shot, whatever. Sometimes like Tyrrell will blow up, and maybe you might blow up. And by the time you get to the ball, you've completely it's all gone. Yeah. And the best players just go, right, well, what do I need to hit? Let me hit it. Whereas like some people, and Aaron, if you're listening, we wind him up all the time. That's what needs
Head loss.
working on with him.
Head loss.
Because he can't delete. He can't delete them last shots, and we haven't played them in a while. And Aaron, you may be better, but we joke with you, and we know
Doubt
that,
you're not. I doubt you are. Harry.
Your mentality.
I look
may
straight
still
at
be
camera there.
fucking
You're
weak.
probably not. You're still absolute head loss ratsman. Fucking ratter. Sort it out.
But do you see what I mean? Just having the ability to go, I'm good enough now. Where am I? Okay, low left.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that is one thing that takes people to step up as
Definitely. It's like that little mental cocktail of being able to ignore the right stuff, pay attention to the right stuff, stick to what you know within your game, and like not be distracted by other things, and then also have a feeling of like you should be there.
Yeah.
And you're approaching putts to win tournaments and make cuts, like, you know, with a kind of ultra confidence that not many
like an
people
arrogance
have.
of you should be there.
Yeah.
You should be in
Yeah.
this moment. That's what you're training for.
Because you were extremely cool today when you blast that drive 3 holes to the right.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't blow up at all.
Exactly.
No.
You
Cool as a cucumber.
you delete, you move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But there was a lot of stress in the buggy when you couldn't see his ball until we got all the way down there.
There was a fist pump
absolute there was
down
panic.
here. There was a little fist
Yeah,
bump.
there was panic.
The
on his
ball
face.
No, I
appeared
got
in
it.
the
I was
semi-rough.
hanging out. on that. It's like,
Yeah, there was pure sheer panic. And then when he sees his ball, then he played the cool, calm, collected. But that was
Hit a wedge to
100
40
yards
feet.
right, that ball. Anyway, let's not get into the
See,
video.
just sorry, just quickly on the turning pro thing. I feel like it's very easy as a washed up professional to be very negative about the pursuit of playing professional golf. Like the odds are indefinitely against you, obviously. But there's two things. Like, you can't be rational and try to pursue something like this. Like, it's the same with any professional sport. Like, the odds are against you, so there's no point thinking like, oh, only this amount of people will make it, or it's going to cost this much money.
You
It's
have
just
to have
like,
an unwavering
do it.
belief that you're
Just
going to do it.
yeah, but also, like, I didn't have an unwavering belief that I was going to make it necessarily. Like, towards the end, I was almost more sure that I wasn't. But it's like, just do it. If you can scrap together the money, find 15 grand, work a job, like, just go and do it, because you'll never know unless you like give it a try. And
the likelihood is, all of you that do that, you won't make it, and that 15 grand you'll never see again. But just fucking try.
yeah, literally do. But
it's the same as us. It's the same as us.
Yeah, we
Like,
pumped so much money into this shit, and we might not make it.
there might be bigger channels out there actually might be watching this going, clip this, get a load of this shit, and send it in their group chats.
Yeah.
Going, get a load of these two twats.
Yeah.
Then they've spent all. I've seen
We
their setup.
pump a fortune. Look at that camera there, Jones.
yeah,
Camera
that's a
A.
proper bit.
That's a
of
bit
kit.
of fucking kit,
That
And
is
they're
a
not
bit
gonna.
of
They're not
kit.
gonna make it.
They're not
And
gonna
we've
make
just
it.
got that undeniable belief that we will fucking make it.
And we're more than 15k in the hole. It's actually more expensive to try and do.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? We could sell it all, and Ash could have a go on the tartan tour.
To finish the sincerity, it's like the things you'll learn being in that environment and like giving something your all is it's well worth the investment, you know.
Yeah.
Because like you can't you're not going to get that learning. You're not gonna,
And I was going to say, and Jojo and the team are now listening to this saying, that's weird because he poised that to us when he asked for the job. And the thing is, I did play on the tour for a year, and what that has taught me as an inherent amount of knowledge.
Look at watching the interview of it.
It was just, and they're like,
It's like a script.
and then obviously you stopped after a year because you didn't think, yeah, but what I did learn is, let me just hold you boys there. What I did learn from that is an amount of wealth of knowledge.
exactly.
You look at it as if I've got commitment issues or something. What I'm saying is I learnt so much.
Yeah.
off of that.
15 schmifteen. I'm here and I'm going to make this brand better.
But like genuinely, like I wouldn't have that job if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
No,
no.
Manners would employ like the person who's going to be like the professional in the face of Manners who can't hit a fucking golf ball. That would be
Yeah.
very well,
Yeah,
would it?
exactly.
Yeah.
So like, you're
Good
not
come
going to
from it.
lose.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't lose. Just do it, and something
golf-
good will come of it.
Yeah, you'll get a job with Manners.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or
And-
the
and-
golf supply.
Yeah,
you,
or the
you-
golf supply.
Yeah.
you can come on
Aaron's got
the
that
scratch match
professional.
and beat Ashley. If that's the bottom of the
That's
pile.
what most of the failed mini tour players do is they can't
Yeah.
beat me on YouTube.
And the bigger we get, they'll see it as more of a kick. And they go,
Yeah.
I could quit this now Yeah, actually, that's perfect. So I might actually get a shot on the golf supply.
And the golf supply loading up fair play and just giving money away for free at the minute.
Exactly.
But that segues us on perfectly. So that's your playing career. That's that's James. Actually, that's
Wilson.
James Wilson there. So James Wilson existed up until 2021, 2.
Yeah. 2022, yeah.
And then so for those who haven't really caught up with that part of the podcast, so James now, Manners has most of you who watch our content week in, week out. Are we called brand ambassadors? What are we? Brand ambassadors? Yeah. So we're like brand ambassadors to Manners. We've had like probably a long-term relationship of about 1.5 to 2 years, like involved with the brand now with like...
Are you getting cold feet? I know long-term relationships aren't necessarily for you.
I've been with my Els for 8 years. Let's not get on your relationship because that's still a touchy subject.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. But yeah, so we're brand ambassadors. All of the clothes that we wear, the shorts you wear, etc., etc. James is... what did you say your job title was earlier for them?
My job title is creative strategist, which...
That's similar to what Jake calls himself for the golf supply.
Close. Yeah.
What do you call your... Is it creative strategist?
No, he says creative director.
Creative director.
But I know for a fact he will now say creative strategist.
But that would actually be... what do you call it? A relegation.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
Creative director's top of the director.
Okay, I thought you meant yours was he would be what he said.
No, strategist. I would be Jake's bitch.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense as well.
Yeah.
So James Wilson is like, he's dying. You've killed him. You've looked in the mirror and you're... Where did you... Was Manners...
Like a snake shedding its skin, right?
Well, yeah, I was about to say, when did you get bit by the spider and then...
But was Manners advertised? Was it like an ad, like your post that you're in now? Was it?
Sorry, so as I didn't finish that there. James is the creative strategist for Manners, that company, the clothing that you see all of us wear. So talk to us about, so as Wesley just said, you go from James Wilson, the fouled mini tour player.
Thank you.
Sorry, the
but
professional
he
golfer.
learned a lot.
You learned a lot of life lessons from there.
15k in the hole, yes.
Yeah, 15k in the hole. Before we get onto the main event of how Shortside started his journey with Manners Golf, let me just tell you about this current offer for you to go to Mauritius, which is pretty much like the paradise on earth, and play golf for 7 nights. Get on this for as little as £895. And that includes airport transfers and unlimited golf. Now, I do these podcast ad reads a lot about these deals and offers, but it genuinely blows my mind that £895, 7 nights half-board, unlimited rounds of golf at the Legends or Links course, private airport transfers and daily golf every single day for under £900, I think is absolutely obscene. Head over to www.golftravelcentre.co.uk to look at the deal in full. We're going to go back to the podcast. But yeah, Mauritius, £895 per person. What a joke. At what point did you join Manners, and was that pre-Shortside Instagram or post-Shortside Instagram? How did that sort of... Because I don't even know this, so I'm actually intrigued to...
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah. Fill us in.
So when like I said, during COVID, not to go back there too much, I'll get away from there very quickly. Mm-hmm. But I had all this free time, had done some drawings. We could bring up the drawings. I did some
Jake can do that.
We can put them on.
Illustrations.
If you message Jake after, he'll get them on the pod now.
I have a Shortside piece of art at home.
That's great.
I do.
What is it?
It's the 18 hole one.
It's the 18 holes at some golf course. It's a bit shit. Go on, carry on.
It's that doorstop on the conservatory.
It's nice. Yeah. It's the one that's facing the other way.
No, it's
in the corner.
Joe's bringing dinner out on it. Go
on. So I did some drawings. I'd always done that at school and like kind of enjoyed creative practices. So did more drawing during COVID. Did a bunch of graphic design stuff. And was writing, like I'd said, about my golf experiences. So wanted a name for that like collection of things and called it Shortside. Started an Instagram account and was posting. I then started doing like the course maps and more golf-related graphics.
Let's not jump past that, because it's quite big.
Yeah, I was.
You kind of just skip past.
I know
that
you're going to say.
Yeah, I'll let you do it.
No, go on, you go. But I know you know that I know.
Well, I want to hear you say it, because I don't know.
Yeah, you like really skipped over. Yeah, just started a page called Shortside.
Yeah,
but where did it?
Was there a
Sure.
short list of names?
A short
Like,
side list of names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah, so I have this collection of things, the writing, the course maps, a bit of drawing, graphic design stuff, and wanted to like accumulate that into a website and an Instagram page to promote it as for people to come and buy prints and things like that. So I wanted a golf related term that was slightly, if you know, you know, like no one who doesn't know golf knows what short side means.
I actually tested that on him on the way up here, and that is very true.
There you go, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a slightly niche term. I like the way the word looked when it was written down, and I actually don't like the way it sounds when I say it. I have my accent's weird to the point where I can't really say the word short.
Yeah.
How do you feel about me when I say that
No, I
word?
don't really like your accent in full.
It feels
on
a bit
most
like
words,
if you was to. Right, it's like you're saying it like CH, like short.
Exactly.
like strong horror.
So
Short side, yeah, short side.
So I try to avoid saying it, but I quite like it when other people say it, which is good. So there was a short list of of names, but I actually can't really remember what they were. I think I landed on that one quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So made a little website. Blogs were on there, course maps are on there, a little bit of graphic design stuff on there, and was posting that on Instagram, posting my course maps, and then like some photos with a link to the blog I'd just written about the 10 worst Airbnbs to stay in on the Europro tour.
Riveting, reading.
Yeah. Some of it was actually one of them actually did really well. It was about restrictions, and I was drawing a comparison between like the Pablo Picasso painting Guernica, which he painted in black and white, and then like
You're gonna lose
having
me, so.
restrictions in your golf game.
Right.
So like, for example, you hit one shape. There's benefits to restrictions in the art world, and there are benefits to restrictions in the golf world. So I drew a comparison between those. That was just one example of one of the blogs that I wrote.
And that's done well, that blog.
Surprising, right?
You
It
lost
did.
me quick, but there must be. I'm not the most sharpest tool in the
That's
cupboard.
fine. So those were the kinds of things I was trying to write about, which was like a parallel between culture and like quite niche golf, in a way like philosophy. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Tough crowd.
If you're still watching, thank you at this point.
Like,
I don't understand. You could.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you've written about that for one.
Yeah.
Two, like how you've compared
No.
Yeah,
restrictions in the
I hadn't
golf.
even heard of the art
Well,
that you're talking about.
I
there,
did.
let alone
The painting's amazing. You would like the painting.
Thank God, Manners advertised the job.
yeah.
Yeah, it
You're
was
fantastic at what you do now, but I mean, to be fair, I
oh, but
joke. We might read these and that might be riveting stuff. We're just
Yeah.
complete dickheads.
No, I think I do honestly. I think if you read that, you would not be quite as bored as you were now. But you can't read, can you, Ash?
I can. I just would choose to not read that.
You're very selective with your reading, and that's not
Yeah.
one of them. Anyway, so was writing. Had the Instagram, and then Luke, who's the creative director, shout out to Jake at Manors, was always on the lookout for things that were in the crossover between golf and creative things. So he stumbled across the Instagram. He messaged me when I was still playing in my last year on that Europro. He messaged and was like, "Oh, do you want to come to our invitational event at the London Club?" Back actually when it was the old brand of Manors. So I went along, met the guys.
Well, like graphic T-shirts, Manners.
Yeah, but more like knitted
Yeah.
cardigans and like pleated trousers and things like that. So went along, brought them a nice course map. Everyone was very nice. Made my introductions, and then 4 months later decided to stop playing, and we got back in touch. Manners got back in touch with me. I think Luke had dropped me a message, and I went along and had dinner with them, I think, and then they were hosting an event in St Andrews the following March, which they were doing a recce mission for, so went again, saw them again, kind of explained that I was stopping playing golf. I was actually applying to art school at the time, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I did know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something creative. So applied to art school. And then Luke was like, listen, you can go ahead with the art school application, and when it comes round to September the following year, you can go and do that, but come and work for us in the meantime, and I guarantee you won't want to go to art school at the end of the 6 months. So I was like, well, that's perfect. We'll do that. Did a bit of freelance at the start, and then quite quickly decided like that was what I wanted to do. So kind of just went full-time with them as of like May last year, and that was, ever since. Been with them.
Relocated from Scotland to London.
Yeah,
for the boys.
The big
what
move.
sort of level? I think Manors are sitting at like 45k-ish at the minute.
Yes.
Where were they when you first come on board? Was it like, I'm just trying to get a grasp of how smaller they were. That's where I'm just trying to.
Well, when I joined, they were in that interim period of selling off the old product.
Okay.
So those like traditional items, knitted polos and
Yep.
pleated trousers and things, and the rebrand had already happened, but it wasn't released yet.
Okay.
So that event in the March of last year was the big relaunch of the new brand, and that was basically the first thing that I was working with them on. Like, did some graphics things for it and helped with the whole organization of the event. So it was probably 30k on Instagram.
Okay. So still, all right.
Yeah. So they were well established, and they'd done well with the previous brand, with the previous like Manors iteration.
I think I followed them from about 8,000 followers.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
think
I was
so.
intrigued. I think even me on my like personal account, feel like I've followed them way before, maybe double figures.
Yeah.
One of the funny, I said this to Luke and Jojo, I was told both of them this. One of the first, when I started the golf supply page, it was with OGs, remember this, another lad called Charlie, and Button used to be on the channel with me, and one of the first, which is weird how it comes all full circle. What do you think? Well, you're going to guess, obviously one of them is Manors. Fucking I was already telling the story. But the first two companies within like the first 2 months, once I got like over 1,000 followers on Instagram on the golf supply page, the first two companies I reached out to and sent like the fucking, it's a shame I haven't got it, I must have deleted it. I tried to find it when I was with Jojo. But like, I sent a message to going like, hi guys, I would love to work with you. Like, was Scottsdale, who are obviously now sponsored by, and Manors.
No
the first
way.
two companies, that I sent them out to. Yeah.
That must be nice to.
Yeah.
There's a saying that, and it goes like this: full circle.
Yeah. I genuinely, and Scottsdale, Manors gave us fuck all, they ignored it, didn't even read it. And Scottsdale...
It's still unread.
Good on them.
It's fair, rightly so. And Scottsdale gave us like a £50 voucher or something to give away. But that is genuinely, company-wise and golf brand-wise, the first two companies I ever sent a message to. Was Manors, because when I used to follow, I used to like their graphic T-shirts and stuff like that. I was like, that stuff looks cool as fuck. And it was like, didn't really see it in the golf space around that time. It was like something just a bit street style, different. And obviously Scottsdale, just because they were like massive retailer and all like free golf clubs from them and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's weird how it comes full circle.
Yeah, that's and also like credit to you, because that's quite incredible to have made that from a point where it wasn't really feasible, 1,000 followers, to actually making it happen. And in some cases, we probably contacted you, and Scottsdale probably got in touch with you. Like, it's amazing to see that.
It was when Alex first joined, and it was because I remember him sending me the lookbook of all the technical gear. They had that big one when it was a massive, loads of stuff on there. When he'd joined, because how long's he been there now? 2 years, 18 months, something like that.
About the same as me. Yeah.
He'd reached out to us when he joined the company, and I think he'd like seen some of our content or something like that, and was like, I remember I had a phone call. I was on the way to like a golf day somewhere. I remember talking to George or something. I was like, I've got a call with Manors or something, and I was like adamant that like I was going to get signed for like $100,000 a year. But then he was just like, he sent me the lookbook over, and I thought it was like proper cool because I get to see all the stuff before it come out and that. And then so like we've probably been like had a relationship with Manors for probably like since the first couple of weeks of Alex starting, so around about the same time that
Nice.
you've been there. We've got some community questions here.
Amazing.
We're just gonna. I'm not gonna go to all of them. I'm just gonna randomly select, starting with. Thanks for sending the question, Neil_MUA. He's put favourite golf course near Glasgow.
Well, it depends. If Ayrshire counts as near Glasgow, then Turnberry's probably the best, but that's not really near Glasgow. Glasgow's pretty tough. Like, it's a lot of kind of average
can't just answer the
parkland
question,
courses.
Okay, ready? So you've got ready. I'm gonna pitch it to you differently. Ready? And it's gonna be countdown. You've dropped into Glasgow. You have to pick your favourite course.
I think it's sad that we have to do this to prompt the answer out of you.
Yeah, it is a bit sad. What's the answer? Oh God, I'm sorry. It might be Kellermont, which is Glasgow Golf Club, or it might be Codder. But honestly, neither of them are setting the heather on fire.
And which one are you going to go with?
We haven't got an answer for you, Neil. On to the next
No, those
one.
two. I've given him two answers.
Oh, okay, he asked for your favourite
But
one.
he might only have 18 holes to play in the afternoon. He might be
Yeah.
going to Glasgow with his missus, and she said you can play once. Where's he playing?
Mm-hmm. He's playing at Codder.
Okay,
Codder. He's playing at Codder,
Playing at
other
Codder.
known as Glasgow Golf Club.
Codder.
Or Balmore Golf Club, which is my home
For
club.
fuck's sake, just pick one. Codder. You're
Neil-
playing at Codder, Neil.
Neil play Codder.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is someone you probably know, so I'll read this one.
Oh God.
It's very, very weird. I don't know if I can read the sentence, but
you're
Gunnar
going to
Rolfars.
Oh yeah, that's my Icelandic friend.
Okay, he's put, why was he buns out in waterfall pool in Iceland?
Yes,
Elaborate.
you've read that perfectly. So a couple of months ago now, I went to Iceland to play in the Arctic Open, which is an event that they host on the north coast where the sun doesn't go down, so it's 24 hours of daylight. So the tee times are from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And
How many players do they get?
like the whole town basically plays in this golf tournament. It's insane.
Sick.
But you can kind of tee off whenever you want. Like it's not like 8-minute slots, but it is busy. So the last tee time will finish at like 3 a.m., which is pretty cool. So Iceland Air partner on it. They like sponsor the event, so they had like a press budget to bring people over and cover it. So we played in the event, and on the last night went out for drinks at the local bar. A few drinks down, met a couple of guys who had also played in the tournament, local guys.
Gunnar being one of them.
And this actually sounds quite funny in hindsight, but it gets to like 3-4 a.m. Everyone's leaving the bar. It's still broad daylight, and these two guys are like, "Oh, my parents' house across the fjord, which is just on the harbour town. There's like a natural spring. In Iceland, there's like the Blue Lagoon. There's like a natural spring that no one can really get access to, where it's like heated water, and then the waterfall falls off the edge of the cliff into the fjord.
Sounds magical. That's like Narnia. Yeah.
Honestly, like it was outrageous. So they were like, we're just going to order a taxi and go over there. So we go kind of over the bridge, over the other side, walk down through the trees, and there's just this like kind of bubbling little rock pool at the top of the waterfall, and we just kind of got in, had a few beers at like 4:30 a.m. broad daylight in this like heated pool at the top of the waterfall.
You and the boys.
Just me,
just vibing out.
Matt, Gunnar, and his friend. It was sick, yeah.
And that's why he buns out in waterfall pool in Iceland.
Yeah. So we obviously decided to go birthday suits into the heated pools.
Thank you for your question, Gunnar.
Yeah.
Rolfers. We appreciate you, little Icelandic devil. Best value. We've got a lot of like golf in Scotland questions here. Best value for money golf course in Scotland.
Cullen Links is like
fucking quick there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ding around
Either
on
took
that
our
one.
advice on board, or it really is
It
a true
was a
favourite of
solidified
us.
answer.
Yeah. I might have a few, but Cullen is probably one of them. It's east of Inverness on that like flat coast on the top of Scotland. And you might have seen it before. It's got these like red sandstone rocks that come out of the ground, and it's right on the beach. It's like ridiculous, and I think it was £25. That or Durness, which is right at the top. It's like the northernmost course on the UK mainland, and it's about the same. It's like £30, and it's unbelievable.
I'm really hoping you say one.
And Cleve Hill's another one, which is amazing. It's £40, I think.
This was value for money in Scotland.
Oh, in Scotland. Sorry.
Really into it.
Sorry, I was thinking the UK. I was into the UK.
Just Scotland.
Cullen.
What was the one that we played Dornoch the day before?
Oh, Golspie.
What
Yeah.
Golspie?
Not Wales, though.
We played. Do you know what the name of it was?
Dornoch ain't in Wales, is it?
No.
Scotland.
Yeah, Dornoch, Scotland. So the
What
trip
was
that
one-
you came up in
yeah, what
March,
was
we
one we
played
played with
Golspie
me-
when I made all the pars.
Was it called Golspie?
Yeah, Golspie.
With Shankaney, Mac and...
Yeah, and it goes like along the coast and then inland, and it's like trees. And
Oh,
then
it was
it's
called
out Portland.
Golspie.
Yeah, Golspie. Yeah.
Is that the second one you just named?
that
No,
on that
I said Cullen, Durness, and Golspie would be right up there. It's probably closer to like 50, 60 pounds.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was cheaper than
But
that.
it is really good. They'd
Fuck
definitely
that
play
place, I
that.
thought it was cheaper.
Cullen Links it is.
Yeah, Cullen Links. Kay Taylor's 22 has asked, would they ever do a collaboration with Jay Lindbergh?
That's a good question.
Manners.
Jay Lindbergh is probably Manors' like if you were to try and categorize golf brands, Jay Lindbergh is very similar to Manors in the kind of customer it tries to attract. So no, because they're probably our closest competitor in terms of the space that we're in. But you never know. I mean, the reason to do a collaboration is to get massive reach. So if we were to do a collaboration with, say, like Puma or Nike would be an obvious one, but you're going to get so many eyeballs. Or it would be more of like a brand directed one. So a very cool, like desirable eyewear brand or something that wasn't necessarily going to get as much reach, but would really increase brand equity. And I don't think Jay Lindbergh does either of those, although it is a massive business. It's too close a competitor.
So there's your answer there. They will not collaborate with anyone else in their field. They're in their own lane on there. Top 5 golf courses you played. Now, this should be an illustrious list.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to like Desert Island Discs?
What did he just say? Did you hear that?
Desert Island Discs.
Yeah.
You said?
So it's a like BBC radio show where
No. James, I'll answer this one for Ash. No.
You would like it though, honestly.
It's
like 60 years old. They get famous people on, and the idea is that you're stranded on a desert island. What 8 songs would you take with you? What 8 like records would you take? So a lot of people will answer the question and like from like a nostalgic standpoint and be like, oh well, my first kid was born and this song was top of the charts, and that would be one of the songs they took. Anyway, my top 5 golf courses would have to be done like along the same.
Was it top 5?
route.
Yeah, top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5, yeah.
So one of them would be the Moray Old, which is in Lossiemouth on the north coast of Scotland. That would be one of them. Just because I played the Scottish universities there, and you play like 2 rounds a day for a whole week, and I did that 4 years in a row. So much fun. The course is amazing. Another one would be North Berwick. It's just like you won't have more fun on a golf course than
Just
the
a
North
mid
Berwick.
golf course that everyone seems to love.
Yeah. We actually had a big conversation about this at dinner. We need to get Ash to North Berwick so that he becomes less of a hater.
I just feel like you say you'd never have that much fun on a golf course. Listen, I hear you out, James, and I'm not calling you a liar. If you pick me and Ash up and you put us in a buggy and you put us anywhere in the heat at a mid golf course, I'll have more fun than North Berwick.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What about if we put you in a buggy in the heat by chance at North Berwick?
Well,
then
I'll
you
call
might
a
have
liar.
slightly more
Then
fun.
I'd call you a liar.
I still don't think it hits the same.
No.
Well,
But I'm
what was the
talking-
question? Sorry, was
Sorry,
it my
yeah,
top
yeah,
5?
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was really rude. Wasn't it?
Turnberry would probably be on there as well.
So we've got Murray, we've got
Berwick.
North Berwick and Turnberry.
Yeah, and the last 2, the red course at the Berkshire, I absolutely love, and then the last one would probably go overseas to that place Dunas, maybe.
Everyone says
Terra
that's
de
such a good-
Comporta. It is
Where's that, sorry?
amazing.
What course
It's
is it?
one that the four brothers
Comporta,
love as well.
Oh, okay,
southwest coast of Portugal. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Or Monterey, which is just next to there as well.
Not in today's condition though.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But the layout is. I just thought the layout was so good. Yeah.
Got a lot of good holes there.
Yeah.
We'll do one more, and then we can carry on. Dream Golf Apparel sponsor.
Manners.
Not Manners.
Who would you wear if you?
That was asked by Wolfen and Luxon.
Yes.
Wolfenden and Luxon.
So kind of, yeah. Who would you wear if it wasn't Manners?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, actually. I'm trying to.
Well,
picture-
I mean, Malbon maybe. Like
Okay.
you'd probably want to look like Jason Day out of anyone else on tour at the moment. Or Keith Mitchell wears Sid Mashburn, which is like this menswear brand based in Atlanta, and it's like very traditional pleated trousers, like old school polo shirts. He looks pretty cool. You know Keith Mitchell?
Yeah, Mizuno guy.
Yeah. Also swings it muy bien, which helps.
Number 1 driver on tour.
Is he really?
Yeah, fairways fine and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Who would you wear? There aren't many. Like, what are the options? Nike.
If I wasn't contracting to wear
Adidas.
Manners all the fucking time, probably. I'd probably go with someone like Nike. Like for an all-round package, someone like Nike. I love the Malbon stuff. Like I think there's like there's bits I could pick from loads of brand, but like if someone put a gun to my head and was like pick a brand, because it's more so what comes from it from outside of golf as well. Being a Nike athlete, like your day-to-day, your shoes, your this.
But you're going to have to look for a new contract in 2 years, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a good 2 years.
I think you'd be invited to so much stuff as well.
Yeah.
Being a Nike athlete, I think, is pinnacle of sports.
Are we saying Nike? Just like, why are we saying that now?
What do you mean you normally say? Just Nike?
Nike. Yeah.
I would
Nike,
I would
doesn't
like to get on the record that I did work in a Nike outlet, and it was clarified on day one that it was Nike
by
the.
Phil Knight.
By who?
Yeah, Phil flew in on his chopper.
Just to let all the new starters know.
By a megaphone. By the way, it's Nike.
It's a tradition I
For all
do
you
when someone
fucking
you
Scottish
start-
idiots.
But she's Nike's the goddess of victory, right? So it's written in
Showing
ancient
it.
Greek mythology.
Showing, yeah. And I'm really glad you just said that, short side, because
Wow, that makes a change.
for those who follow you on Instagram, for those who don't, we'll put all of his social handles below in the description to this podcast. But for those who do follow you, this voice will be very, very familiar to a lot of people at home. And actually, Johnny and Cole, when we was having some dinner together, they said it felt like they were on Instagram when they were sitting there talking to you, because your content is unique to you, isn't it?
That's nice of you to say.
I feel it's definitely unique to you. I mean, we're definitely guilty of putting out some generic content from time to time, and like, whereas I feel like when you watch a short side reel, you don't have to see the name of the account to know whose reel you're watching. I asked you when we was out in Scotland, was it all scripted and stuff? I obviously found the answer out to that after an hour and a half complete silent car drive with you. But talk to us about, like,
so the hour and a half silent car journey was because I was I had the MANORS social media empire on my shoulders, and I was trying to lift it off, and I needed silence in order to do that.
Account that we were dealing with there as well, just to fill you in. He was like writing his like poetic scripts out in the car.
Oh, okay.
Like,
But of course, 90 minutes is a wild exaggeration.
I'm talking there and back. You didn't talk to me on the way there and the way back. It was probably 40 minutes.
It happens. It happens, James. I've been there.
Can you blame me?
I've ignored him before. It's okay.
Yeah. But I asked you, didn't I? Said you script it, which you do. But let's have a chat about that. It's very poetic, is the way we call you, Peter Drury. Like,
actually, who is Peter Drury?
Peter Drury is like, do you know, like when it's like magical Messi from out of this world.
Like when Ronaldo went back to United, he's like Madrid. Yeah. Like, what did he say?
Juventus.
He said something else.
Back to Man United. Blah, blah, blah. Like they call him like he's like, his commentary is poetic. Like when he obviously scripts it as well. But if it's Messi, it's like the weight of Argentina on the little boy's shoulders from blah blah blah. From Rosario, Argentina has lifted the weight. Like, it's very poetic in what he's saying. So I always look at you as like the Peter Drury of golf content.
Well, that's very generous.
They say Turin.
Is it Turin?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will. Well, not a lot of people, but quite a few comments. If a video does quite well and gets, say, like 1 million+ views, and it's getting away from your core audience and people who actually know you, comments will start coming in being like, "Cheer up, mate," or like, "You could do with sounding a bit more excited," or something. And I'm like, I find that quite funny and actually quite like it, because so much of what is attention grabby on Instagram and YouTube and things is like the good, like, oh my god, and like golf bros,
animated,
yeah, like overly animated, and I like, that's not me. And if I was to try and do that, I wouldn't be able to make videos beyond, you'd have like a 3-month spell, and then you'd be like, right, I'm just absolutely done with this, because you know that you've got to be yourself in order for it to have longevity. So yeah, I guess it's like the writing that I've done. I do a lot of writing about golf trips now, so I like to weave that into the voiceovers that I do, and I definitely couldn't just like watch a video of me playing golf and just sort of perfectly narrate it with the right timings and things like that. So yeah, I'll generally just write a little script and try and make it like kind of poetic, or just make it so that it sounds nice and has a flow to it, and that's generally how I prefer to make the videos. It just makes it more enjoyable for me.
And on average, how long would you say each script takes to write for like a?
Well, if it's like a play a hole with me, which is very simple, it won't take long at all. But the travel logs, which are the videos that do much better, so we go to Wales on a trip, and I'll kind of document the whole trip and then write a little story to go over the top of it. That'll take much longer, and actually has become quite laborious in more recent times, and I've kind of had to when you know there's like a 3-4 hour kind of editing task coming up to do a little video, you're like, it's quite easy to procrastinate it. But yeah, those ones take longer, but they do far better, and they're more interesting to do because it takes a little bit more kind of creativity.
So you're saying 3-4 hours to write the script for like a longer?
Not to write the script just, but to put the edit together and write the script and do the whole thing. Yeah. But writing a story about a golf trip, like we went to Royal St David's in Wales, like writing that story will probably take 3 hours, and that'll just go out as a blog on the Manors email. So it's about there.
And would you say your favourite piece of content on your Instagram is probably the 15th hole at Cleve Hill?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be up there, I guess. Well, for those that didn't see it, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't, but we were playing at Cleve Hill with the guys from Cheeky Golf Club. Actually, we were filming some content with them, and I was filming my own like 9 holes in 90 seconds.
How many pars had they made up to that point? Was their video still going? Or was they just playing
No,
for fun?
So on the front 9 he had done his par thing and made a few, and then on the back 9, the format that Manors were doing with them was they were hitting alternate shots, and they didn't make a par the whole 9, which was quite funny.
Good.
Anyway, yeah, so we get around to the 15th. It's very windy. I just sort of like hammered this wedge up to the left side of the green, and the wind's taking it across, and it kind of bounced just short and went in. And because the Cheeky Golf Club guys were there, who haven't been playing golf for that long, they were just like, oh my god, like what have I just seen? And they went mental. And Alex, who was there with us, was excited that we'd got a hole-in-one on camera, so he went mental, and then I just went mental as well. And it was very funny, like hats flying everywhere, and annoyingly, like in the video you can't see the ball go in, like there's a little hill in front of the green that literally, if I'd put the camera like this much higher, but it was so windy.
That was going to be our next question. Was it staged?
There was another good. Where was the other good one where it was you turn around and you go, oh my god, I hope it was recording?
Oh
that
yeah,
There's a whole lot of Princes.
That one I think that Wesley's talking about is
It was just going on that one either.
At Dunbar, there was one at Dunbar on the east coast of Scotland. I hold a wedge on the last hole, and you can see it go in, bounce, and in. And that was quite funny. But yeah, there was one not long after I'd started working for Manors. We were at Prince's, and I'd hit a 2-iron into the bunker on the left and had like 140 left in, and hit a 9-iron. And they were filming it from behind the bunker. It had a big lip on it, so I've hammered a 9-iron out. It's kind of going at the pin, and the cameraman's kind of like, everyone's like, "Oh, is that going in?" But he can't really like get up and up, so he kind of holds the position there, which is fine. But then it does go in. I don't see it go in, and everyone goes mental, and like, yeah, that was also very. And
you
funny.
played it quite cool, like he always does. Then he just walks out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you say, so you've had, gone through your script and you're at Manors now, and we've gone through your professional career, and would you say for now, James Wilson, you're where you want to be? You're happy you found your thing that you're putting all your energy in, you're putting all your eggs in?
I think do tune into these as well. So.
You know,
I don't think they're listening at this point.
You know, you've found your niche for your content, which I think some people can take ages. It took us to a very dark time to try and push on, and like, so you found, you'd say, your niche on your short form Instagram. You're in a job I assume you really enjoy. You can wink at me twice if it's not.
Blink twice if you're here against your will.
Yeah, so, you know, and obviously it didn't go so well for you in your professional career, but are you happy and with all the energy you're putting into the right places, or is there other ventures or other itches you are wanting to scratch?
Yeah, the job is strangely perfect. Like, it combines me being quite good at golf and also doing the creative stuff that I really like. Obviously, you know, working for a small company, people are doing lots of different tasks, and ultimately you've got to do stuff that you don't want to do, but you're in it as a team, and that is part of the whole thing. But in terms of my own content, I think that it's also a really nice opportunity to combine the writing, like what I was saying, with some of the graphics, and then now me actually showcasing that I can play golf. And I think those three things are quite unique, in that I can go and play a golf course, show you like the way to play it in some ways, and then write a nice story about it. And I think that gives me kind of a unique opinion on the place, and probably, well, hopefully means that people will trust my opinion on whether to go and play this golf course or that golf course or do this trip more than they might trust, you know, someone who maybe wasn't as good at golf or didn't have the experience of playing all these golf courses. So yeah. What?
You wouldn't listen to his review of like a golf course where he'd hit it and stuff. You know what I mean?
We wouldn't listen to yours.
We wouldn't listen to it today. That made him red hit it on the golf course.
People didn't
You
listen.
wouldn't be able to comment on what the fairways are like or anything.
Got
Really.
it. So
James, don't entertain him,
You
because
get what I mean? Though, you wouldn't take it.
we got a video coming out soon featuring you two, and we'll run a podcast back after that if we want to act big man.
yeah,
If we
yeah.
want to act big man.
Sounds
I
good.
don't know if we've got the SD cards on that one.
But no, so you're scratching all your itches at the minute.
Yeah.
And you're content and very happy where you're at.
Yeah, pretty much. I would like to have more time to do the content stuff. I'd like to have more time to do the content stuff, which I am going to have for the next few months, hopefully, actually. I would like to do more YouTube, which, again, we're going to do at Manors. And I would also quite like to host, like, trips. So a Scotland trip to play some off-the-beaten-track courses, Cullen Links, for example, and host maybe 10 people and get them along to do that kind of thing and document it. So that could be fun.
So,
but yeah, it's going in the right direction,
So
definitely.
you're bringing back the Scottish touring bus.
The Scottish.
Is your dad involved
You're
in that
bringing-
one? Is it?
This is the Scottish touring senior bus.
The Scottish Senior Golf Tour.
Just before we wrap up the podcast, then, from a manager's perspective, obviously they've got this podcast is going to be going out Wednesday, by the way. So just say what you can say what you can't say. What can we expect from yourself and Manners over the next sort of 3 to 6 months? What's coming our viewers' way that they've got to look forward to?
Wednesday being 2 days' time.
Wednesday, as in, yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
if we. Depends
Yeah,
if we win tomorrow and we've got to stay until late, it might have to get put back. But we're aiming to get this out on Wednesday.
Cool. So Autumn Winter collection is dropping on the 3rd of September. Note that down in your calendars. Lots of exciting new products, and a very exciting campaign video that we filmed. We have an event on the 15th of September. You guys coming
Sold
to
out
that?
very quick.
Yeah.
We're in Egypt.
We're in Egypt. We're at
Oh,
Summer
But
Bay.
that sold out within hours, didn't it?
Seconds.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, which is really good actually. We'd done a bunch of invitationals before, but this is more community based. So yeah, it should be fun to have just kind of everyone there who wants to be there. So that's on the 15th of September. There might be some more tickets becoming available, so keep an eye on the Manors socials.
And that's at Brocket Hall.
That's at Brocket Hall, yeah, which is meant to be a really great venue. So looking forward to that. And then from myself and Manors for the next few months, hopefully going to be doing a few more YouTube videos coming out, travel-based stuff, and yeah, some exciting places around Europe, and really trying to come up with entertaining trips and places that you might not have thought to go. But yeah, that's the plan for the rest of the year.
Because what is golf? James?
It's a game to be explored.
It's a game to be explored.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Manors say.
And do you know what? On that note, guys, thank you for coming. It's like bedtime.
Finally, as well, before we go, thank you, obviously, James, for coming on. Thank you for
very
playing
much.
with us today, mate. It was an absolute pleasure. You're one of the people that I actually enjoy playing golf with. I enjoy it. I'm yet to probably beat you, which is like a little bit frustrating.
Well, actually, remember at Royal St David's we played.
I smashed you that day, but I didn't want to talk about that. But check out our levels video. It's going to be out in the coming weeks, in the next week or two, because in there may or may not be a discount code that you're going to be able to use for a lot of the stuff coming out on the Manors website next month. But James, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you guys.
Today.
Yeah, really good fun.
Thank you.
There is always a massive open welcome to come onto the channel, play with us, mate, do some scrambles with us. Just make sure we don't leave it so long next time. Like
Of course, yeah.
2 years
I'd love
or
to
so,
do
we
that.
can
Yeah.
probably ramp it up a little bit quicker.
Sounds
next
good.
time,
We should, and we need to get you guys on the Manors YouTube as well. Hopefully in the coming 6 months.
We'll
But
see what we can do there.
Yeah. Well, if you let us know location prior, if it's one of them exotic places, then
Of course.
if it's long haul, then I think we are available.
of course,
Yeah,
so.
so.
We'll figure out the west coast of the US.
Yeah. Or if Jojo can just get Wentworth West to like actually allow anyone but Rick Shields to film there, we could come play a video there. It would be perfect.
Let's pull some strings.
Hope you enjoyed the video, everyone. That is
thank you
podcast
very much.
episode
13
of the Golf Supply podcast, the #1 podcast in the world for golf.
Wow, amazing.
I hope you enjoyed
Congrats.
the episode, and we'll see you all in the next
in
one.
episode 14.
In episode 14 of the #1 golf podcast in the world. So we'll go to bed, everyone.
Let's.
Good night.